No, I think whatever you got planned. Just excited to kind of find some more stuff.
Alrighty. So as I said, I kind of labeled it the redo because I know a bunch of guys had to bail when we had all those shenanigans last time. So I'm going to kind of go over that spreadsheet and how to upload data into HUDL to save you guys a bunch of time. So let me go share my screen with you guys. All right. So, and I went and cleared this out earlier today from what we did the other day. So one of the things that in my first video we talked about was we don't use HUDL Assist. We enter all of our own data. We have a spreadsheet that we have on a computer up in the press box during the games, and rather than having the old school clipboard, pencil, paper, we just have them with this Excel spreadsheet loaded on the computer. And so they're given a headset, and all they're doing is listening for the offensive call or the defensive call, and they're just trying to enter this data into the spreadsheet. Because once it's in the spreadsheet, you can upload it to HUDL, and you can just get the data to sync right away. Let me see. Someone sent me a message. I got to go look. Let's see. Oh, Wi-Fi issues. All right, we'll get there. So what happens is, as long as you have these headings up here that match the HUDL columns that you use, it is super easy to upload a video or some data into HUDL and not have to wait for 24 hours or wait for it to get back. And so we tell the guy up in the box, just make sure you get ODK, down distance, yard line hash, make sure you get our personnel call and the play call. Anything else you get is just a bonus. It saves us time on the back end, but this first about half of the page is really what matters. So I just went through this afternoon and did the first 3 series for LSU versus Georgia Southern, just so I can show you guys how it works. And so if you come in, LSU versus Georgia Southern, none of the data's here, so it looks just like every other film you ever get. You go here to import data, and it'll ask for an Excel or a CSV file. And last time a guy said he's got an super old version of Excel, and so a lot of his spreadsheets have issues. You can, in every version of Excel, you can save it as a CSV if you go to File, Save As, and then HUDL can read it. But you choose your file. Let's see, LSU versus Georgia Southern, and you click import. And then, like I said, as long as your heading on your columns in your spreadsheet matches a HUDL column, HUDL is smart enough to just pick it up. So I've built that spreadsheet so that HUDL will read it exactly. And then you click import. And now it'll process the data. And so now to match it, it's just like if you upload your end zone film and your sideline separate, you just click both and you click match, and it pulls up the same screen. And as long as you go through, and now this is an easy one because there's no scoreboard shots, you still have to go through and make sure your scoreboard shots don't get you all messed up in here. But once you click save, because it's matched, you will have all of that data into HUDL, and it took us, less than 2 minutes if it's in that spreadsheet. And so now we click on the Georgia Southern game, and it'll pop up, and it has all of that data in there. So I'm going to change it back to my offensive columns. And so now you've got all the data in already. So 2nd and 10 on the -25, left hash, queens, and you've got the play call. You can't run reports with this play call column. So at some point, a coach is going to have to look at this play call and put it into the individual columns that you would normally run reports on. But it makes getting your Friday night film put in HUDL super fast. The game's over at 10:30. Everyone usually goes in the coach's office and, does what they do for 30 to 45 minutes. You guys can have all of your Friday night data done before you leave Friday night, so that you've already got it at the top of the screen. If you bring the kids in the morning, the data will already be up there, and you don't have to do the watch the play. Oh, we called zone. Let's rewind it again and go see. The data's already up there, so you don't waste your time going back and forth with the data.
So if you had on your Excel sheet, if you had offensive form and offensive play, would that upload directly into that as well?
Yes, and I think I had it that way on the spreadsheet, but in the game when you're going, it's so hard to like make sure you're typing
All
in
of that.
the proper boxes.
Gotcha.
And so we just found it was easier if you just create a column for play call and he just types in everything he hears on the headset in there.
Gotcha.
If you've got a guy who's good enough at it that doesn't make any mistakes, yes, absolutely, because that would even save you more time.
Gotcha.
But every coach on the staff knows the formation, so whichever coach is in charge of formations, they just go to that formation column, put it in, push enter, put it in. Like it.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. I've just noticed that it's easier to do it this way rather than the guy trying to push tab and go back. Like,
yeah,
because it can get a little crazy on Friday nights, especially if anyone goes fast.
Yeah,
because then they're trying to figure out the yard line and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they got a play call, and now you end up with a play call in a formation column, and just less issues by doing that.
Gotcha.
Anyone uploaded things like that before? Smaller versions of that?
I've never uploaded that stuff. We use what's it called? A different sideline deal, that Edge replay system.
Okay.
And so when we upload film and kind of that way, but I've never done spreadsheets or anything like that.
Okay. Because this is how, and one of the topics I wanted to get to today, because when HUDL switched to their new system where they charged everybody more and then removed the unlimited game data, you really have to decide how much old film you want to keep on HUDL at any given time.
Yep.
And so one of the ways to manage that without losing everything you've ever done is you want to export the data to an Excel spreadsheet from HUDL, and it'll dump it to a spreadsheet for you. And then you just save the video and the spreadsheet in the same folder on your computer. And if you ever need it back up, it's as easy as upload film, go to the folder, upload the clips, and then do that same import. And you can have a game back up if you're not needing both angles. You can probably get a game back up in less than 5 minutes. And all of that time is just waiting for the videos to upload. If you do have to sync 2 camera angles in the data, it takes a little bit longer than that because, again, usually you've got scoreboard shots with one camera but not the other one. So you do have to go and make sure that everything matches up properly. So it's a little bit longer of a process. But we've deleted all of our film except for 2019, 2020. But everything before that, we've just removed it and put it in a file because otherwise, I mean, I've had guys say they're doing HUDL sideline and they're running out of data in the middle, or they're running out of storage in the middle of a game because they're up at 88, 89% before they ever start the game because they've got so much old film from 10 years ago on there. So I recommended, hey, go through. It'll take one afternoon. Just go in and export everything and get a Dropbox. I pay the $100 for an extra upgraded Dropbox account every year because it's well worth it. And then I can log in on any school computer and get access to all my film through Dropbox. That's my recommendation. Or if you want to go a little bit more old school and carry an external hard drive, that works too.
And you can export the film clips too, right? It's not just the data?
Yes. So if you go to video manage library, and it seems like all this college film I get, they don't know how to click the export it as separate video files button. But if you click download, you can choose to have it export every clip as a separate file, or it'll splice them all together in one giant file. But if you do one giant file, then you got to go cut it again.
Gotcha.
Which is a major pain.
Yeah.
And you can click this box that says include the breakdown data. in the download. So now they've made it even easier, so you don't have to export the spreadsheet separate. You can just
Nice.
click that and it'll do it for you.
Sweet.
One of the issues I've had in the past, Jerome, you with us? We want to make sure his internet still works in South Korea. He's joining us from South Korea today. Let's see. One of the issues I ran into, and I mentioned it on the first video, I think, is when you do want to export data, make sure you have a column set that has every column you have ever typed any data in ever. Because if you export the spreadsheet with only like 10 columns showing, it'll only export the one that's currently being projected. So if you have your, let's say your D coordinator is just entering your defensive stuff and he exports the spreadsheet will only contain the columns that the defense uses. And so any of your offensive data will be lost forever if you delete it from your HUDL and you don't have it in the spreadsheet. So that's just a thing I've learned from mistakes. Like at my other school, we were exporting a bunch of stuff to try to move it and save storage space on our scout film. And we exported it and we didn't realize we had a certain set of columns up. And then when we tried to re-upload it, we were like, where's all the data? Where's all the data? And found out, oh, this is just all of our offensive data. And so we went and looked, and when we exported it, we had exported it with just our offensive data up. So we learned our lesson and created this complete column set so that that doesn't happen anymore. Any questions on that side of things? No? Are you guys looking more reports? Are you looking, what do we want to get into?
Yeah, I'd like to look at reports. I've done a lot with like on the defensive side of the ball, running the reports as far as scout and another team's O, but haven't done a ton of looking at it from the other side.
Okay, so what kind of reports are you running? Are you running like the ones that come with HUDL?
Some of those, and then also creating just our own like formation, pass run, getting those tendencies as well as kind of the where they're at in the field reports, and then top plays and stuff.
Yes. So on the offensive side, when we're scouting a defense, this is one of my first ones I run, and I've actually saved it so I know exactly where to find it. This one right here is huge for me because I coach the quarterbacks. I think we went through this one quickly in the first video, but we'll pull it up again. So I run this report, and when we get scout film, we will tag what formation our opponent is running, especially if we run that formation. So in these games, when the team they were playing was in the slot formation, the team we were about to face ran cover 3 93% of the time. When they were in a pro formation, they were cover 3 93% of the time. When they were in trips, they were cover 3 85% of the time, and then 2x2, it's flipped to cover 2 92% of the time. So I could give my quarterback on Monday this report, and he can look at it and go, okay, if it's 3rd and 6 and coach calls slot formation, he's going to give me a cover 3 beater. And if for some reason he doesn't give me a cover 3 beater, I should probably audible into a cover 3 beater because there's a 93% chance that they're going to be in 3. And if they're not in 3, they're coming. And this would also show up on another report, but I've actually had kids that go, hey, coach, I clicked on this, and it pulls up the 4 instances in which they didn't run cover 3, and he noticed right away, hey, coach, all 4 of these are inside the 20-yard line going in. So they're playing cover 3 100% of the time, but once we're inside the 20, it's cover 0 every single time. And so that I don't even have to run a report for that. If your quarterback's bright enough to look at this and can manage the report for you, he can actually see some things that you were not originally telling him. What's another one we run a lot? Let's see. Come on. My internet loves how many of us are all viewing the internet right now. It's lagging. Come on. All right, I'll refresh the page. Probably lagged out. So let's see. So if we go here and here. So what's another one we run a lot? And you can click as many of these boxes as you want, and it'll run every single report at the same time. This is one we run as our self scout every week. So I don't know how you guys do your self scout on D. Offensively, we run this every week, and then I'll do this one too. Okay, so this one is how we self scout ourselves. So, on offense, when we were in slot formation, we ran the ball 91% of the time. We passed the ball 9% of the time on those two films. Okay. Pro set, we ran again, it breaks us down and we can self scout it. And if you run this same report on a scout film, then your defensive coach is going to get your opponent's run pass based by a formation, and your offensive coordinator can also get, depending on how you enter your data, you can get to where your offensive coach wants half of the report and your defensive coach wants the other half of the report if you plan your columns out pretty well. So this one is just play type by offensive formation, and I did this one so I can show everybody like the difference between having it sort by ODK first. So now on this film, because it didn't sort ODK, this is when both teams had the ball, it was 70% run. So to me, this one is not a useful report. But if you don't understand that it's only pulling the play type by offensive formation, coaches can get tricked into thinking that this report is telling them, oh, when my opponent was in slot, it was run 91% of the time, when in reality, that was just both teams during that game. So you got to make sure when you build a report, it is specific enough that you know exactly what it's telling you. If it's too specific, it's not useful either. But if you make it too generic, then it's not going to help you as well. Does that make sense? So, Coach, what kind of things are you running on D, like scouting wise, looking for?
Mainly like the ODK. Well, yeah, the ODK, and then, and really when we would do it, mostly we were doing it off of playlists. So we would make a playlist of, whoever we're scouting, all of their D plays, and then so that we were kind of, ignoring that ODK first, and then just breaking it down by formation, run pass, and then within the run pass, what was that offensive play? That's kind of what we were taking it to most of the
So
time.
you were running one report and then taking that and running it through another one?
We were running a playlist, so we'd take their 3 games or 2 games, whatever we had, sort it ODK, and then take all their defensive or all of their offensive plays and put that into a separate playlist.
Yeah.
And then reports off of that. Yeah.
Okay. So you were having to take the film, filter it by O or D, and then save just those clips as its own playlist, which is doable.
Yeah.
To me, it's just as easy to click that little button for ODK first. But I know staffs that still do that. They upload the entire film, and the first thing they do is ODK it and then save it as offense, defense. That's perfectly doable as well. So I've seen that done before. I'm trying to think of another one that we used to run a lot of. So let's see. Let's go ODK again. And the cool thing about this builder is that you can kind of see what you're getting and go, oh, I don't like that, or I do like that. So for instance, let's go. And let's do down. So ODK by down, and then let's do play type. Where is it? The downfall of all these columns is it gets crazy. And then create this report. Okay. So again, on this one sheet, okay, on first down, the offense ran 82, passed 18. Second down, they ran 88, passed 12. Third down was 86% run, 14%. And again, we were a super run heavy team, which doesn't surprise me at all that we were that heavy run. But this will give you your run pass splits. So we would run this and say, okay, this week, guys, if you're playing linebacker, you better be weight forward because you've got an 80% chance on any down that it's a run. And then if you wanted to, you could even break that one down more into a fourth one. It's going to lag out again. Okay. You could even break it down into a fourth one if you wanted to add down and distance to it. Oh, come on. Reports. Custom report. So again, we go ODK. Down. Distance. Okay. And you can customize these three somewhere. I've got to remember where that's at now. But then you can do play type. And so then you can create that report. And again, this is all stuff that a lot of people do already, but they might do it by hand still. So I know guys that still do this by hand with like the tally marks and stuff. But on offense, when it was 1st and 10 or more, it was 80-20. If it was 1st and 5 to 9, it was a run. So down in the red zone, we ran clearly. But then you get into like your 2nd and 3rd down tendencies. And depending on who you're playing, you know, you can find out if it's 2nd and 5 to 9 that these two numbers flip. If it's 2nd and longer than 5, they might pass 85 run. So this is a good one to use defensively as well. And down here, if this is scout film, this is the report that is telling you your opponent's tendencies. So if you're getting film in your league and you play this team week 4 and you play this team week 7, if you save this report and you just make sure you write at the top, like this report is that team you play in week 7, you've already got a report that was telling you back in week 4, this is what their tendencies were. And then you can run the 2 games that you got, you know, weeks 6 and 7 and see if they've changed their tendencies. You know, some teams will actually start doing different stuff as the season progresses. Maybe a kid gets hurt, and so they'll change some tendencies, or maybe they got a kid back from injury. Or if they've been healthy the whole time, I would run the report with all the games possible so that you get a really, really good tendency with it. So everyone familiar or comfortable enough creating one of these on their own that they could do it depending on what they were looking for? The trick is you've got to have the data in the computer or you can't run the report for it. So the biggest issue I've noticed with coaching staffs is they don't have an efficient way of getting all the data in the computer that they want. They have an idea of, you know, what they want to do, but they don't have the data in, and to them it feels like it's going to take so long to get that data in that it's not worth their time. They almost feel like it'd be faster to do it old school paper pencil. So if you're the OC and you know the stuff that you want to chart, come up with a system where every coach does 2 or 3 columns so that all the data you want can be entered in an efficient manner. Because I've been on staffs where I'm the only guy doing it, and then I'm spending 7 hours on Saturday entering every column for every scout film. Like, it's miserable. Give your 56-year-old D-line coach who has a hard time with the computer, just give him the column that says whether it's a run or a pass, right or left. Like, he can at least do those 2 columns. Give the young kid that's motivated and wants to do everything he possibly can, say, hey man, do you have all the terms for the defense memorized? Yes. I need you to go through and put the front and the stunt. Like, I need you to go in and just get these 3 columns in. Don't worry about the down and the distance. And especially if you're using that spreadsheet, all of that down and distance and yard, all of that stuff should already be in there anyway. And so then it's just a matter of, if everyone spends the 30 minutes, 6 guys doing 30 minutes worth of work is the same as 1 guy doing 3 hours worth of work. So it helps everybody out. And then you can run the reports earlier. Any questions on that? Any of you guys play option teams, like triple option teams?
We played East a couple years ago, but that's fun to scout for.
Yeah. So if we were playing East, which thank God we don't, but
Yeah.
if we were going to play East, this option column would be super. I would definitely run a report, and we would be looking for that option column. Now that there's RPOs, we actually have 4 different things you can put in, but these are the only 4 options you can put in that option column.
Okay.
So give, keep, it used to just be give, keep, pitch, but now it's pass, so we can get an RPO breakdown as well. But every single time they run outside veer, you put in offensive play, outside veer, and then you document if the fullback got it, it's a give. If the QB kept it, it's a keep. If it's pitched to the third guy, you can actually get a report that says when they run outside veer, they don't want to pitch it. It's like 0% they pitch it. But when they run inside veer, there's like a 30% chance they pitch it. And so you can then try to you can adjust your defense accordingly if you feel like you're good enough to do such a thing.
Yeah.
Because there's teams where the quarterback wants to keep the ball a lot, and so you'll find out, QB's like 60% of the time keeps it. Well, that's a huge indicator. I've told safeties before playing option teams, hey man, I know you're the force and you're supposed to have the pitch, but they've pitched the ball once in 3 game films. I hope they pitch the ball, because the kid who's catching the pitch will probably be just as shocked as we are that he's getting the damn ball. So I want you to make sure the QB check QB first. And so we've changed option rule, like responsibilities, based off of that in the past. So that's something you can do if you have that column. There's not, I guess there's other ways you could do that column, but for us, we just label it the option column. So anytime the QB has an option, we tag it with what he did to try to get an idea. If the kid reads it the way he's supposed to, then it should be give most, like 40% anyway, and then he should pull it about 40%, and then the last 20 should be pitch. But I've coached option football before too, and sometimes the quarterback just wants to run the ball himself, and he'll make bad reads and pull it when he's not supposed to. So, any questions? I feel like I'm just going and hoping I hit stuff you guys want to see.
Yeah, you're good.
Is anybody looking for like how to download? I kind of showed you, but do you want me to actually download a video and show you how that process goes, or are we good on that? We don't have a ton of questions. So what else are we looking for? Presentations? We did a little bit on presentations the other time, but we can go in more detail. Has everyone built presentations before?
I know you said you got all your stuff on PowerPoint, right? And then you
Yes.
just upload the PowerPoint there?
Yep.
Because I started doing a presentation, and building it in HUDL is a nightmare.
Oh yeah, it's a disaster. Like
Yeah.
this presentation mode is literally built for like going to clinics.
Yeah.
And so like you build your little 5-play cut ups of everything. And I know we have some of them up here. So where's my offensive cut ups? So for instance, we got ISO cut ups. Okay, so if I'm going to do a presentation on ISO, right, I can create a presentation, call it, I don't know, whatever we want to call it. HUDL tutorial presentation. Okay. And I can create this playlist and it'll create it down there. And it's kind of the same way as loading 2 films at once. You can just type ISO cut ups right here. And you can, spend some time trying to make this slide look okay, but then you can click that. And now slide 1 is just that stupid title, but now you have that ISO cut up right after it.
Yeah.
And then you can save the playlist. And again, you'd have to save it as something different now. And then it just becomes a matter of like resaving it over and over again. So what I've generally done is created like a work in progress presentation. And then you kind of upload all the slides you want from PowerPoint and get them in the order you want. And then when you click all of these, rather than saving it 6, 7, 8 times, kind of plan it out and build it all at once, and then don't save it what you want to call it until that you're done.
Gotcha.
And that'll save a little bit of time as well. But now if you run through this one, and again, so you can have that slide, it says ISO up there somewhere, but and then it gets into ISO cut ups. And then if you got both angles, so I have it set, yeah. Okay. Very similar. And then the cool thing about these is if you do draw on them, it will show up. So if you're giving a clinic talk and you want to highlight the full back, you can circle it and it'll go. Whereas if you export it, it won't export with the drawings on it. Okay. Any other questions? I haven't checked the chat in a while. Has anyone been sending chats? Nope. All right. So what else is everyone looking for? Jerome, you've been really quiet, dude. What's going on? He might not have a microphone. Josh, you good? You still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'll tell you this, I signed up for some of the HUDL training that they do.
Uh-huh.
It was terrible.
Was it?
If they get a hold of this, they might hire you. They might not fire you.
Yeah, well, I was worried because in my first one, I was like telling everybody, don't do HUDL assist, don't do HUDL sideline, don't do HUDL, what's it called, tagging?
Yeah. Well, she did like the 101, and then I signed up for 201, and then I just didn't even go to 201. 101 was so terrible. I was like, no, I'm good.
Well, and again, and I keep asking if you guys have questions because I could sit here and show you everything I do, but that might not be what you guys want to do. So if I get an idea of we've tried to figure out how to do this or this or this, like some of the guys the other day were like, how do you have your playbook, call it so I walked through telling guys how to create different events in your schedule. So these were just created as practices, and then our games for this year, I've already so these are all games, and I listed these as practices, but because of the dates, and when you go into this playbook thing, you can add practices, and usually it's practice March 1st, March 2nd, March 3rd, but you can call them whatever you want, and it creates a subcategory for it. So right now, with this coronavirus situation, we've just got our kids. We told them, I'm not going to put a bunch of offensive stuff up here. I want you guys to be experts at the playbook. And then the first front and the first coverage we put in is 20 teal. So we've got the playbook here with all the rules and all that stuff. And then we've got cut-ups here. So we're just trying to get the kids in here, watching the video. Okay, corners aligned 5x0, safeties are like just this is what their homework is right now, since we can't go to the school and lift and we can't do, coaches meetings, broke down too soon. And we're just walking them through it. And then we got, annotations on the back end. So 5 tech, 2I, 2I. Anyway, so this is what we're doing right now, but it's broken up, so it's nice and organized. Playbook is always the very, very top thing the kids see no matter what. And then we try to add stuff in there. We added this column right here, teams we play again this year. We've only got 3 opponents we played last year. So we took our last year's film and uploaded it to here for the kids to all be able to watch. So, and eventually we'll move it down here for when we play like Copper Hills. I didn't put it down here yet, but because I just want everything the kids need to know up here. And then I told them we will also be adding tags to a lot of this stuff as we go. So we should have LSU, Utah State should be tagged mostly, I think. Yeah, we got most of that tagged up. So, and then we just want the kids to learn our offense. So we're calling this exactly what we would call it in our offense. So trips right, Phalo. Okay, and then it's a 5-step concept. I don't have those concepts in yet. I got to go do that. But just trying to give the kids examples. Here's what we would call it. Here's what it's supposed to look like. LSU's clearly a lot better at it than we are. So seeing what they do and how they do it helps. And then we also have the end zone. So that's nice. But any specific questions so far? Anything? I'm trying to let you guys steer the ship.
I don't have HUDL, but just how you sort the data is kind of what I'm pulling off this. And I like where you do the ODK first and then do your defense and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of looking at how you organize the data, since Department of Defense hasn't appropriated funds for HUDL. So
So I got an email from Watch Game Film that they've updated a ton of stuff. Are they getting closer to this or no?
I don't know. I need to log into that and check it out. That X video stream one in text is actually, to me, has all these same things and more, and it does the 3 views, so you can do a wide, tight, and end zone. And they are high def, so I actually, in some ways, I like that better, and you can import everything from HUDL.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't checked on the Watch Game Film one in a while.
Okay, I haven't either. I've been like prepping for these and trying to film my chemistry lessons, so I've been busy. But I told the Watch Game Film people I'd go through and try to. I mean, if they're only going to charge $500 a year for unlimited, I'd rather spend that, and even if it takes me an extra hour every week to.
Right. They seem like the best price point. The X video stream one, they seem like they have all the bells and whistles that HUDL doesn't. Like they have like I said, the different views, you can see all 3 views at once. You can, they have everything that HUDL did, but then they put it on a database instead of a spreadsheet.
Oh, so it's getting closer to like Exos and the stuff.
Right. It's kind of the high school version of Exos. Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. So yeah, I don't feel like we are anywhere. I don't have enough guys on staff that know what the hell they're doing that would help us right now. So, that's the other trick is that stuff. How much does XOs cost? Like 10, 15,000 a year or more? Like
I think it's more than that, and they keep adding on. And I mean, Exos literally, put it this way, they're rich enough to buy Catapult. They
nice.
bought Catapult 2-3 years ago. Like anytime, and there's no competitors because they have all the money and they have the market cornered. So
Yeah.
if you're a Power 5 school, I mean, I think it's like 100%. I think like the NFL is like 90-some%.
Wow. So I'm trying to think. Anything else specific? Like we could go on and on and on. You, Coach, you have uploaded presentations before? Braden?
I haven't uploaded a presentation, but I've been like creating them on there. Yeah. So I don't know, like we're moving to Wisconsin here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just kind of creating off of our playbook and off of our stuff, presentations to present to the school that I'm going to out there.
Okay.
I start presenting my offense out there because I've been at Northridge, my whole coaching career. So everything's just kind of been built in there. So it was just kind of creating, hey, how do I display this to a new school and a new team?
Okay. So, well, as long as your coaching staff now doesn't take you off.
And he hasn't taken me off. I lucked out that the guy that is taking over, he's a Northridge guy. So I told him, hey, I still need to be on here for a little bit. The one thing he did do is he deleted, like, he kept on the last 2 years films, but basically deleted all of our older stuff. So that kind of messed things up.
But did he export it?
No.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So I could go back through and, I mean, it's still archives for a little bit, but I'm just like, well, I guess I just pull everything from the last 2 years and make it work. But
yeah, I still do everything on PowerPoint. Like, I still do everything on PowerPoint just so I can upload it into HUDL. Yeah. And then if I do, because that's the other thing, like with HUDL Playbook, like you're spending all that money, but then if you do switch schools, you can't take it with you.
Well, yeah, so I exported stuff, but I mean, our HUDL Playbook, we had like over the years built up, we had like 800 and something plays. And so it was just kind of a cluster in there.
A huge mess.
Yeah. But and luckily the school that I'm going to, they also had it. So I could export it and then import it into theirs. And it worked pretty well. And the thing I like there with their playbook is being able to put 3 clips to every play too, just to get a quick snapshot of what it should look like.
Yeah, and I try to avoid I try to avoid uploading this whole thing for the kids to look at. So, because I agree, it would become so big so fast it'd be unmanageable. So I mostly just use this as a resource for the coaches. Now I do print one for all the coaches and give it to them, but I've uploaded this slide before to HUDL. And then if you do go through, like I said, I could upload this one slide and then I could create a presentation, and there it is, offensive cutups. I could just put that one slide on the front end of this ISO cutup. So you could kind of build the same thing.
Yeah.
And you could build like, okay, ISO section of the playbook power. You could kind of make this offensive playbook and then have a subheading for each section.
Gotcha.
And build it that way. And then you could just export, when you go to manage library, you can go through and just export each section of your playbook one at a time.
Yeah.
Or you can share it. So like if you're going to your new school and you're on both HUDL accounts, just log in on your one, because Bart lists me up at Logan still. So sometimes Bart will be like, hey man, I need the film can you send me the film from this game that we have on our Cottonwood account? I'll just log into my Cottonwood one, send it to him, and then click over to the Logan one and accept it for him and just dump it in there for him.
Yeah.
He'll probably be pissed at me that I'm showing this, but I don't care. He stole half of his offensive stuff from me anyway. So, but this is all he's doing right now. He's just got his PowerPoint, and like I said, it'll all look similar because we worked on it together. But that's what he's got going on too. And they're doing things where they're giving kids little quizzes and stuff, and they have to log in and show. So yeah, some of this stuff is exactly word for word out of mine, but you know, it's kind of a pain because unless you're willing to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, you kind of have to export everything and archive it so that if you ever need it again, you can bring it back up. So like that's with these old films from when I was at Hillcrest, because we're running the same defense that we were running back then. I've just uploaded all of these, and it's like, all right, man. Or not 2011. That was when they ran the option. That's useless. Let's see. We don't face any triple option teams anymore. It's the 2012 one. So we're facing a bunch of spread teams. So I've got clips from when we were playing teams that were nothing but spread, you know, back then, so the kids can get on here and watch. Okay, so they went spread, but they brought in 2 tight ends. So how do we adjust with anyway, like just anything old that I can bring up for the kids and get them a visual, because the kids nowadays, you can't hand them a paper playbook and say go study it.
Yep.
It's like they don't know how to do that anymore. So you kind of have to give them, here's a game, go through, find 4 plays where you think the middle linebacker messed up and message me back. Other little tricks we've done is, let's say we got a scout film. We'll be watching it, and it's something important that we think all the kids should see. We'll put in like the comments, you know, we'll pause it right here and be like, okay, we'll circle him and we'll go, you know, text Coach Miller the word candy when you watch this play, and he'll give you whatever, and like a Jolly Rancher or something. And of course, it's the 5 linemen who text you like within 5 seconds. But like, we do little things like that to try to get the kids. I know there's other systems that are trying to like buy us, and you can like build quizzes for your kids and send it to them. Like, between Google Sheets and Google Forms and HUDL, you can pretty much do all of that stuff yourself. And so, but we'll do things like that just to try to, you know, hold the kids accountable and whatnot. Anything else report wise? Is there a report any of you guys have tried to run that you've like, I can't get it to work, and we can try to figure out how to build it, or anything like that?
I guess I just had a probably, I don't know, maybe a bad time for this question, but I've been going through like some of my stuff from last year. And one of the things I like, when I find there's like a 50-50 or 60-40 trend, like at what point does the information become useless? Because I feel like that 50-50, 60-40 in that ballpark, it's like useless.
So I think you might have been, did you speak at the second clinic or the first one?
I think the second.
Okay, so it might have been at the first one. I did a HUDL presentation at one of the clinics, and I just cleaned up this thing. I'm gonna have to go find it. I didn't like the way my desktop looked the last time I did one of these, so I've been cleaning it up for the last little bit. It looked all sloppy. Let's see, clinic materials. So I did these HUDL presentations, and one of them was specifically built to answer that question. And I know you're a lot better at like the statistics stuff, but basically here's what I have kind of landed on. If I have between 1 and 10 data points, I've got to see an 80% trend, or else it could be a 65% trend, but with only 7 plays, that's not enough that a 65 matters. To me, if you've got 21 data points on something and it's above 60, that's enough that 1 or 2 plays isn't skewing the data, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So that's kind of where I've landed on in terms of, without going into all the degrees of freedom and the blah, 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 and AP stat stuff. But basically, as you get more data, I will trust a smaller number as a tendency, if that makes sense. And I know, guys, so like this is one I did an example. So we had 50 clips of them on first down, and it was a 66-34. I will use that 66% because that is a big difference in total number of plays. But this one right here, 60-40, I would say I don't have enough. Like, to me, if it's 2nd and 6+, I'm not telling my defense it's a run, and I'm not going to tell them I really don't know, because that's not enough data points. But then if it's 2nd and 5, we're getting closer to believable data, but I still probably wouldn't pull the trigger there because I only have 15 there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I mean, and this one's right on the border. I mean, some coaches would say yes, some coaches would say no. So I think because of my numbers before, I'd say, okay, you can tell them if it's 2nd and 5 or less, it's probably a pass, but you're going to be wrong about half of the time. And I don't like telling the kids halves.
Do you look at field position at all when you're looking at these type of things?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember where. Let's see. I used to remember where it was up here, where you could modify what you consider like backed up or red zone. Does anyone remember where that's at? They've moved some stuff around or is that something that they'd lumped into the HUDL playbook? You have to have HUDL playbook in order to do that now.
I don't know. I know we've ran reports, and a lot of times we'd give that report kind of up in the box. Hey, when they're minus 20 or 20 to 50, kind of these are the plays that they've seemed to run and stuff.
Here it is.
Yeah.
So you can come into here, and I want to say you can edit some of these. I got to find out which ones, because these are all the ones that I'll default at. So field position right here. And you used to be able to edit them. So you used to be able to, like, let's say your red zone's from the 25, not the 20. You used to be able to modify this and say the 25 in, I want to call it the red zone. And I want to call this the green zone. And you used to be able to edit all this stuff, but it looks like they've disabled some of that. Let's see if they've got it in here somewhere. Yeah, I know. So yeah, it looks like they're kind of limiting you to what you can do with it now. So you're kind of stuck with these down and distance divisions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But as long as we have enough film loaded, you can actually run these reports as well and get a tendency report for it. But it says we haven't tagged any games yet, which doesn't make any sense to me because I got lots of games in here. But maybe I'll have to do this. And then a lot of this stuff, guys, some of it's just trial and error. Like sometimes you just got to log in and go, where is it? It's miscellaneous. Oops, other items. So let's say I click on these two. These are my go-tos from our rival school a few years back. So now let's see if I have those two clicked, if that will work now. No, it's still not going. Okay. See, it's only letting me tag it. It won't let me tag film that's not specifically listed as a game anymore. So, yeah. I know those used to be editable, just like you used to be able to go in and draw your formations. But now if you try to draw formations, you have to sign up for HUDL Playbook, so I can get a 14-day free trial, but if not, it won't let me. Yeah, it kicks me out now because they want you to pay for HUDL Playbook. Let's see. Josh, anything on your end? Or still just watching and learning?
Yeah, man. I'm a big time rookie, but I think so I just took over a school, and I think I'm coaching 7th and 8th grade. I think I'm going to go back through last year's film because we're going to play all the same opponents, and I'll probably use your spreadsheets. And since I have time, and
yeah,
I tend to find myself just watching too many clinics, so I probably should do something more productive. But I'll probably go back through and try to enter in everything so I can start running reports, and at least when we go in to play them, I'll be able to say, look, here's what they did last year, because they obviously didn't do anything, so they just have film. It's kind of just raw.
Yeah, like, I mean, our defensive staff pretty much didn't use HUDL other than to watch film. They didn't enter any data ever, and I was always confused. I'm like, how are you building scouting reports? And I guess they were still doing it old school by hand. And I was like, oh my God, that seems terrible. That sounds just terrible. Terrible to me. Do you guys want me to get into like some of my spreadsheets, some of my like I've got spreadsheets for stats. I've got spreadsheets for like tracking like, I don't know. Do you want me to get into any of that stuff and how it ties in with HUDL, or?
Yeah, I'd be all for that. I thought from your first one, like your spreadsheets were super interesting.
Okay, so yeah, I've sent anyone who wants those stats ones, I can send them to you. This one takes forever to load, and I'll show you why in a minute. But any of you guys doing, like, I want to say it's old school BFS pretty much, where you're building the workout card where they start off 1 week at like 5 sets of 8 at a super low percentage, and then the next week they move up in weight but down in reps? Is everyone doing something like that for the most part? Because what we've got, so on this info and data sheet, we put all the kids' names, and we put their, I should probably not have their grades on there. I'll delete that real fast and then fix it. So then once their name's in here, it'll automatically dump their name onto every single page on this sheet, and it will build them on this sheet, which is kind of big and ugly. I'll zoom out for you. So this sheet right here prints their workout cards for me. And so all we have to do, so for instance, if I go to Lillian Archuleta, who's playing right now, if I go over here to this sheet and I type in her max, so let's say I type in her max is, just for fun, 500 on squat, 350 on bench, 275 on clean, and I don't know, 600 on dead, just for example. Now if I go to her strength card, those numbers are all here already, and workout 1, we're doing 12 sets or 12 reps at 50% of her max. It even tells her what her percentage is right there. And then if we want to change this 12 or that 50, we have this little programming sheet here. And so if I don't want it to be 12 sets of 50 for every kid, if I want it to be 10 sets at 52%, and then we go click back, it'll change 10 at 52, and that number will change, and it changes on every single card for bench press. So then it changes the next kid's bench press and whatnot. And, if you guys are familiar with programming Excel, you can see a whole bunch of, there's a lot of fun formulas up there. But that's totally programmable. And then I've got the percentage chart on there. Let's see what else is on this info and data sheet. So we do all of our football attendance on here. And so we just have a week 1 of the off season was on the 18th of, I want to say that was January we started. And if they're there, we just put a 1 there. And over on this second page, this adds up every off-season day since we started, which is 70. And she just added late, but this kid's been to 65 and a half of the 70 workouts, which is a 94% intent. And it does all this for me. And it updates it. Like if I were to go in and say, okay, this kid showed up on that day, then that percentage goes up, that percentage goes up. And anyway, it's all programmable. It's just you've got to be pretty good at Excel to do it. And then we have all of our inventory on here too. So helmets, when the last time it was used, when the last time it got reconned, the year it was bought. And then over here it adds up. So we have 100 helmets right now in our program, which is almost 2 for every kid. So it's nice. And then our game jerseys. So I've got spreadsheets. If you guys are looking like, hey, coach, I need to build a spreadsheet and I need to do this or this, reach out. I can help you. I'm fairly decent at it. We track all of our fundraising in there. What's some other ones we've got? I assume what's that?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do you use just Excel or do you ever use Google Sheets for anything?
Google Sheets only allows you to use like 10% of the formula. So if I tried to upload that spreadsheet to Google Sheets, it would screw up everything.
Yeah.
Because Google Sheets, because it's built to be an online, you can do it on your cell phone, you can do it on a tablet. It has cut out like 80% of all the cool stuff Excel can do.
Yeah.
So if it's something basic, then yes, we do Google Sheets still.
Because I have like our attendance, like those, a very light version of what you just showed.
Yeah.
I've done that on Google Sheets, just like you said, like just being able to access it anywhere I'm at on my phone, just real quick.
Yeah.
Is why I preferred that.
Yes. And so what we actually have, we do have a Google Sheet that we can pull up on the iPads in the weight room. So like when we do maxes, our coaches on their cell phones can pull up the max sheet
Mm-hmm.
and they watch a kid lift and they can just quickly punch in on their cell phone 250 and like and it builds that spreadsheet for us, and then it's easy to copy and paste it over to my main one because we've got it put in it's in the same order on both. So all we got to do is on that Google Sheet, if we're just entering numbers, Google Sheets is perfectly good for that. So we'll do that, and then we just copy and paste it into the main one to do all the fancy stuff with it. I assume everybody's already got a practice plan script on Excel with everything split up by periods and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I was going to comment, I do, like, for Google Sheets, anything that I would need to share to my coaches, so our practice plan, so I'll put, like, the thing in and I let them fill in their individual drills, attendance, anything that I want to share, I kind of use Google Sheets for that. But if you need basically more power to manipulate the data more, then Excel is a better program.
Yep. Yeah, anything where you got to maneuver with the data, you got to use Excel. But if it's just entry and basic stuff, then yeah, Sheets is your thing. This is our scripts. Like, so when we have a team script, we have a personnel grouping, like we make sure we want to run this very specific thing against that very specific thing. And then I have this column there because I've got coaches who literally like 46. What's that? Which direction is that going? Because they still haven't figured out the freaking numbering system. So it'll say like power right so that they know we're running power right on this play. Because some of them are, older and not up with the technology. But yeah, I've got all these scripts built and they're all pre-programmed so they print perfectly on a page. So we can print we print this on 3 pages, and then we can go here and print this one and just go to the printer, flip it, and then you'll have the script for the practice. So the Monday practice, you'll have the script on the back of it right there. So then we give one of those to every coach before practice. So the front side has the schedule and the back side has the script for each segment. So special team script, game situation, group run, group pass, and then team. Now we try to get through 20 plays in 20 minutes, but sometimes it just don't work that way. So sometimes we got to scrap it. And then when we were a platoon team, we built the practice plan so that we had the offensive on one side and on the defensive on the other side, which I haven't used in a while, but and then I started building a QB drill chart. I don't know if you guys use a drill chart or not, but like drills, and then you can check like when was the last time you did it, and you can keep track of what you've done with your kids and whatnot. But this is all on the same spreadsheet, which is the practice plans workbook. And then we've got one where we track the schedule for the season, and we build our calendar, and these are all password protected in case someone hacks me. And I caught a guy using my stuff and then selling it on one of my coaching websites later, a couple years back. So I started passwording everybody. So we go through and we build a schedule grid. So this is currently our schedule. I got to move a couple of games around. But then we know when we play Carbon right here, week 2, anything in the green box, we will get this film from them. And then as we play teams and get film, so let's say we play, Timpanogos week 5, one of these scout films might be them against Payson week 2. So then we can color this in like yellow, and then we will also tag it for this. Let's say, what did I say, Timpanogos? But then we'll also tag it here so that we know when we run huddle reports, we can like we have all 3 of those games on huddle. So we keep track. I got to fill that in. I haven't done that. And then here's my calendar. I don't know if you guys still do paper copy. I haven't gotten rid of this yet, but now I just do everything on Google Calendar, because then the kids can sync it to their phones now. I used to do this paper copy and give the parents the paper copy at our meeting in January. And by February, all the parents have lost it. And so then they're like, well, you didn't remind me that we have this camp this week. And I'm like, well, yeah, I did. I gave you the calendar and I lost that. What else have we got? I did an article on, was it Exos? Jerome, do you remember? Was it Exos I did that article? On grading?
I think so.
Do you guys grade players? Or do people not grade them? I don't grade them anymore at Cottonwood. I used to grade them every single day at Harriman. So if you guys grade your kids, I've got this pre-built, and we did a 5-score system for every play, and it's pretty much pre-snap, post-snap, footwork, mechanics, and finish. And you can export the data from HUDL and just copy and paste it. But let's say it's clip, 13 from HUDL was the first play they got in, and then 14 he was in, and then 15 he was in, and then 17 he was in. Then down on this sheet, we got to have an actual play call. So let's say this was, QB sneak, and this was ISO, and this, whatever it's called on HUDL. Toss, and then, smash. So down here, it'll now say pre-snap, possible grade of 4, because he was in for 4 plays. So the spreadsheet will auto update. So let's say pre-snap, the QB did his job and no mistakes pre-snap. Post-snap, he did what he's supposed to do. He was terrible with his footwork, terrible with his mechanics, but he was able to get the first down. So he'll get a total score of 3 on this play. And then down here, it'll tell the kid, and again, I should probably enter more data. So 0, 1, 1, 1, 0. I'm just putting in numbers. Let's say he had a real good play on toss. So then down here, it'll give him, okay, in this game, you got a 50% on pre-snap, 75% on, and then you can print these. And what I've actually done is I've given kids paper copies of these and had them go through Saturday, especially with my quarterbacks. I have them grade themselves on every play that they were in, and then I bring the one I graded them, and we'll compare it on Monday. So, like, hey, you gave yourself a 4 on this play. I gave you a 2. Like, what's going on? But again, the spreadsheet automatically tallies everything for you, so their total score. I laugh every year. There's an all-state ballot, and the coach sends out, like, graded out at a 95%. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Because some coaches, you can get like a 3 on one play, but you run the percentage out of 1 per play. So you can get 2 extra credit points on one play just because you pancaked some terrible player. It's always made me laugh. But some guys would just rather grade arbitrarily by hand so they can fudge numbers if they need to. But I got spreadsheets for all kinds of stuff, man. Like, I don't know. So if you guys are ever looking for anything, email me, because I might already have something that's been put together either by me or that I've collected over the years. Anything else? Like, I can do this all night if you guys want.
No, this was good. I still think you need to finish that football 101 because
my trick is I gotta find it. I think I shared it with Bart, and I don't know if he deleted it out of our shared Google Doc or what, but I've been looking for it and I haven't been able to find it. Was it just called 101?
I think so. If you can't find it, you send me some of the stuff. I'll send that back to you. And I did find a couple other ones online I'll send to you, but because I loved what you were doing, and I did use it with my team, but you like did a couple things and didn't finish it. But
yeah, I think we had moved on to something else because our kids had stopped coming to those meetings because we were doing them at lunch or whatever. But yeah, I've got all kinds of free time nowadays, so I might be able to go through and do that. That was the one where I started off with like this. The beginning of the game starts with a coin toss.
Yes, and all the options and all that. And my kids don't know that stuff. I mean, most of them lived overseas most of their lives.
Yeah.
And so, it's very rare they watch any football.
Because, yeah, I've had kids that are like, we want to kick off. No, we don't want to kick off. No. Please, no. But, yeah.
I train my kids at least on that one. And then the sad thing is you'll get some officials that'll be like, oh, no, and let him change. No, he said he wanted to kick. Make him, go by that. But,
yes. I agree. Anything else on HUDL? Like I said, I'm trying to. Oh God, the Deseret News is sending me emails at 11 o'clock at night.
All right, thanks, Casey.
Yep, you're good, man. What time is it over there?
It's 2:18 in the afternoon on Thursday. Man.
Yeah, you're like almost a whole day ahead of us, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, basically like 12 hours ahead or whatever. So I got 13 hours from the east, 13 hours ahead of the East Coast.
That sounds like fun. All right, man, we'll have fun. I know this is going to kind of not apply to the other guys. Are you still planning on crashing here this summer, or what's going on?
As long as they're not shut down, then yes, I am.
All right. That'll work.
So if they're shut down, then I don't know what I'm going to do because I can't stay with my parents that long. We'd both go crazy, much as I love them.
I believe it. I've been at home with my son for the last 4 weeks, bro.
Does he have any one-liners that you can share with the?
No, I can't share many of his one-liners. He did argue that he didn't have to shower one time because he took a shower the day before yesterday. Like, that was his excuse why he shouldn't have to shower today. I showered the day before yesterday. Why do I have to shower today? But
He has some priceless quotes. All right, thanks, man.
All right, man. Yep, no problem. Hit me up if you need anything.
All right, we'll do.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Braden, Josh, we good? What do we want? I feel like I've just sat here and bored you guys to death.
Oh, you're good, man.
Yeah, it's good, man. I appreciate it. I think this is the kind of tutorial I needed.
Okay. And like I said, if you guys, I know if you haven't watched the first one, I walk through like how to build these different column sets to try to keep organized. And then I have, let's see, where is it now? I have this spreadsheet that I can send you, which is all of the stuff that we do on HUDL, like all of the terminology. So every column we use, and then all the terms that I lock most of this stuff so my coaches can't type in the wrong thing and mess up all the reports. And so like for shifts, it's locked to where they can only type these in. And if I've got a coach that I'm like, hey, can you go tag this? Oops, got a misspelling in there. Can you go tag this film? He'll be like, hey, coach, what's that shift when they bunt? And then, but this is just a go-to. So every coach on my staff gets this spreadsheet so that they can go through and say, okay, if we want to tag bunch in the adjust column, what does bunch mean? It means that all the it just got a definition so that everybody's on the same page. And you don't have one coach putting in this word for the same thing as this other coach uses another word because he learned, and then all your reports are all screwed up. And then this is the column sets that we have and the order that everything's in. So if I were to go over to my HUDL and click on the game info set list, you would see these exact columns in that exact same order. So I try to keep everything organized, and I try to make it as easy as possible for my assistants to help. Some of them can only do down and distance, and if that's all they can do, give them that job and just let them make that their job, and then no one else should have to worry about down and distance. Their only mission in life is to make sure that those two columns are handled so that someone else can handle the other stuff. But that's my number one advice is, especially with all this downtime, go through and really plan out, like, this is the stuff I want, and this is how I'm going to make sure we get it without spending 6 hours on a Saturday entering data into HUDL. Because I've been the only coach on a staff that's done it, and I literally waste hours and hours and hours of my life and don't get to hang out with my wife or my kids on a weekend because no one else is helping. But then everyone shows up to the meeting on Sunday or Monday and they all have suggestions on, we should put in this player, we should put in that play. And it's like, I was doing HUDL for 7 hours on Saturday running all these reports, and you're just showing up saying, I think we should run this play because I saw the Raiders do it. And it really got frustrating. So nothing else you guys want to see, like, at all? I'm trying to think of stuff that people have asked before that we haven't kind of already hinted at. If you guys know of anyone sharing all 22 film of other stuff, please let me know, because I like to gather as much as I can and get after it. So far, these are the only 5 LSU offensive games I've been able to find. But
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it.
you good? Yeah, no problem, man. Like I said, email me. Any other
Yeah.
questions that come up, shoot me an email. I will get back to you, I promise.
Yep, definitely. Awesome.
So, all right, guys. Have a good night.
All right.
Thanks, Casey.
We'll talk to you guys later.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.